it was reported that one time the Prophet ﷺ saw a man who had left a spot on his foot the size of a dirham, which water had not touched when performing wudu. So he ﷺ ordered him to go back and repeat it. Ibn Umar reported from Abu Bakr and Umar that they said, a man who had made the ablution once came and he had left a spot the size of a thumb on top of his feet that wasn't washed. So the Prophet ﷺ told him, go back and complete your wudu. So he did it. Reported by Darul-Qutb.
Okay, this hadith is narrated in Darul-Qutni, and there's other narrations which is in Muslim and also in Abu Dawood. And Imam Ahmad was asked and he said, Isnad Jayd qala na'am. He said it's a good authentic hadith. Now, this hadith, what has been mentioned in the hadith? What has been mentioned in the hadith that a man came and he did wudu. But there was a part on his qadr al-dirham, about that big, okay? Like a, I don't know, 50 pence coin or something. That part was left unwashed on his foot. The Prophet ﷺ told him to do wudu again. Okay, and pray salah again as well. Again, what's your wajh al-istidlal? How did the author extract that you are not allowed to leave a time difference between the two washing of the body parts? Exactly. The Prophet ﷺ, he saw that part was dry. If this was not like a fard, then the Prophet ﷺ would have said to him, go wash your feet. That's the only thing that was left. And it's in tartib, so that's the last thing. However, because that part had dried by now, the Prophet ﷺ said, no, you have to do the whole wudu again. Okay, because this last fard was not mentioned. With this, we finished what? The 6th fard or furud of wudu. Now we're going to mention a wajib of wudu, and I'll explain the difference between fard and wajib now.
Its requirement to wajib is tasmiyah, mentioning Allah's name, along with the words of remembrance and dhikr.
Okay, the wajib, what's the difference between fard and wajib? Both of these are the exact same. There's no difference between fard and wajib. However, the Hanabila sometimes in certain chapters of fiqh differentiate between the two. For example, for in wudu and in salah, they differentiate between the two. Fard, they say, is that which you can never ever miss. Intentionally, forgetfulness, no matter what the state is, you can never miss it. However, a wajib, if you miss it out of forgetfulness, they let you off. It's okay. Okay? So that's the so fard, you can never leave off. A wajib, if out of forgetfulness you leave it off, it's fine. But if you leave it off intentionally, then your wudu is not accepted. The Hanafi also have a differentiation between fard and wajib. We don't need to go into that. However, the rest, all of the ulama said there's no difference between fard and wajib, except some of the Hanabila when it comes to wudu. Here and also in salah. So here, he says the wajib is saying Bismillah. Okay? And only the Hanabila say this. All of the other madhahib say that is sunnah. But they say it's wajib. Meaning, if you remember and you do not say Bismillah, your wudu is not accepted. If you remember halfway through doing wudu, what do? You say Bismillah and you carry on. Just like when you eat. When you eat and you forget, and then, you have to read the dua. Do you say, Mom, bring the food again, let me start all over again? You don't say that, do you? You just say the dua and you carry on. Similarly, here. Question, what if you're in the toilet? If you're firstly, if you could say it before entering the toilet, that's the best. Secondly, if the wudu area is different to the toilet area, then it's fine, you can say it. That's not part of the toilet. But if the place where the actual toilet is, the exact same place is where you do wudu, then some ulama say either go out and say it before you come in, or say it in your heart, and that should be enough. But generally now, like in the masjid, the wudu area is different to the toilet area. So with that, you can say Bismillah at the wudu area, and there's no problem in that. Now,
the things that nullify the ablution are 8. The first.
Okay, so now he's going to mention those things which nullify the wudu, and there are 8.
The first, whatever comes out from the 2 private parts.
Okay, cool question. Is there a difference between obligation and condition? Okay, what's the difference? I mentioned it earlier.
Condition is.
You can speak in the mic as well.
The condition is before salah and during it. As for the obligation, it's only during salah.
Yeah. condition starts before. For example, wudu starts before. You do it during the salah. Allahu Akbar. You don't do that. It starts before. Whereas fard is within the action itself. Okay, Karen.
The first nullifier of wudu, whatever comes up from the two private parts.
Okay.
The second, any foul impure substance that comes out from the body.
Okay. When menstruating, can you read dhikr to protect yourself? Yes, you can. Dhikr is alright. In fact, like we said, you can recite Quran. So you can recite Quran and you can recite dhikr. When you change a baby's nappy or washing a young child's private part, does it invalidate your wudu? We're going to get there, inshallah. If I forget, remember me. Can you explain the different types of impurity for a woman and when wudu is needed? Anything which comes out of the woman, then I think Ibn Uthaymeen, he read the Risala by Kamarah, I forgot her name, some female scholar from Kuwait, and he came to the conclusion that anything that comes out of the woman, as long as it's not the hayd, is pure. Okay? And from my knowledge, she doesn't have to do wudu for that. The only thing I should do wudu for is whether it's urine or ghusl, if she ejaculates or she's in a state of hayd, then she has to do ghusl. Wallahu a'lam. The first thing which nullifies your wudu is anything which comes out of the two private parts, the front and the back. And this we talked about before, whether it's bowl, it's urine, money, we talked about this before. The second is al-kharij al-fahish al-najis min al-jasad. Anything which is impure that comes out of the body. And impure here, al-fahish, meaning what is ma yastaqdaru, urf or shar'a. That which is, looked down upon according to the people. So for example, blood, pus, any of this that comes out, then it invalidates your wudu. But with the condition that it has to be a lot. What is considered a lot? Obviously, you don't go to a butcher and ask him, what's a lot of blood? Nor do you go to a little girl and ask her, what's a lot of blood? Okay, that's two different things. You go to whatever the norm is. Normally, if there's this much blood that's come out into my arm, is that a lot? That's a lot. If it's this much, is it a lot? It's not a lot. So you just think, okay, is it considered a lot or is it not? And many of the ulama quote ijma' upon this. And same with pus. The ulama say pus, the origin of pus is actually dirty blood, which turns into pus. Now,
the third nullifier of wudu, loss of consciousness, i.e. sleep or insanity. The third nullifier of wudu, loss of consciousness, i.e. sleep, insanity.
Okay, loss of consciousness. This is when somebody is conscious, his senses go. Now this is split into two, okay? Now the first, ma ghayrun num, other than sleep. Anything which makes you lose consciousness, which is not sleep, whether you just faint, you become intoxicated, anything like that, with ijma' it breaks your wudu. Okay? Now we come to sleeping. What type of sleep breaks your wudu? Simple answer is that sleep which causes you to lose your senses. Meaning, you no longer know what's going on around you. Okay? So, light sleep when you're sometimes in a boring lesson. Okay, hopefully that's not today. Yeah? And you're like this and you're trying to concentrate and then you do that. Okay? And then your chin hits your head. Okay? Hits your chest. That sleep is fine. Because if somebody says your name, straight away you're going to wake up. And you can hear what's going around you. So your senses are still there. But then that sleep, even if it's for a second, you properly knock off and you don't know what's going on around you, that breaks your wudu. Okay? And some ulama say if you try to pick up their hand and it drops down, or if he's holding a pen or something and then that causes him to drop his hand in his pen, that shows for that second he lost his senses. So that he has to do wudu. Yes, some ulama say if he's leaning, then that all goes back to, obviously if somebody's leaning, it is going to be more of a cause for them to fall into deeper sleep. Okay? So take this as a qaida. If it's deep sleep where you lose your senses, then without any doubt, then you have to do wudu. If it's light sleep, then it is fine. That's in many hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, hadith of Anas, which is in Bukhari or Muslim, one of the two. He says, I used to see the companions of the Prophet ﷺ in salah and the heads would go down. حتى تخفق رؤوسهم. They would go down and their chins would hit their chest. And when salah time came, they would get up without doing wudu and they would pray salah. Okay, so that shows that it wasn't a deep sleep, because they're just doing that and they were waking up. Salah started, they woke up straight away. Okay, that does not break their wudu. Na'am, next one.
The fourth nullify that breaks wudu, touching a woman with sexual desire.
Okay, with this, I don't want to go into a difference of opinion. However, in this I am, because I don't 100% agree with what is said here. So I'll mention the whole mas'ala, which is, in this mas'ala there are three opinions of the ulama, and I'll mention which is the correct one. The first is a Shafi'iyah, which say, if you touch a woman with desire, without desire, by accident, your wudu is broken. That's what the Shafi'iyah say, and they use the ayatul wudu, awla mastumun nisa, if you touch a woman. Okay. However, how would you answer this? Even though it's a clear ayah, most of the mufassirun and the Sahaba and Tabi'in, they say what is meant by touching a woman is having sexual intercourse with a woman. Then the Hanabila, they say that if it's touching when it comes to with desire, so if you touch a woman without desire, then it doesn't break your wudu. However, the correct opinion, which is the opinion of everybody else, is that it doesn't break your wudu at all. This is because the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, he used to kiss his wives قبل بعد نصائي ثم يخرج إلى المسجد فلا يتوضأ أو كما قال. He would go kiss his wives and then he would go and pray salah without doing wudu. Okay, and kissing your wife, is that with desire or without desire? It's with desire. So that shows. And also the Prophet ﷺ, he used to pray a night prayer, and Aisha radiallahu anha used to be in front of him. When he'd go into sujood, he would move Aisha radiallahu anha to the side. So he would touch Aisha, and he was in salah. If that broke his wudu, the person would have left the salah and gone and made fresh wudu. So this shows that it doesn't break your wudu. Now,
The fifth, touching one's private parts with the hand, whether it is the frontal or rear private part.
the next is touching the private parts. And this is when you touch your private parts skin on skin, hand on hand, not when there is clothes on top of you. So if you touch the private parts, whether it's the front or the back, or you touch somebody else's private parts, your spouse's private part, then that breaks your wudu. Yes, somebody asked a question. What was the question? When you change a baby's nappy or washing a young child's private part, does it invalidate your wudu? Ulama say it doesn't invalidate your wudu due to the fact that it's something which happens a lot and it's constant and it's hard to stay away from. It's hard to stay away when you're cleaning your child. It's hard to stay away from not touching the private parts. However, the safer opinion is just go and do fresh wudu, and that is safer for you. Like what's the hadith? Man waqa'a fi shubhati waqa'a faman ittaqa shubhati istabra al-dinihi wa 'irdihi. Rawah Bukhari Muslim. Whoever stays away from these doubtful matters, then he has saved his religion and his honor. So it's best to do wudu. Now,
The sixth nullifies wudu, eating the meat of camels.
okay, eating the meat of camels. This is the opinion of the Hanabila and also I think Imam Abu Hanifa, maybe, Allah, I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's Imam Hanifa also, which is eating the meat of the camels. Okay, why? What's that got to do anything? This is because the hadith of Prophet ﷺ, and there's two hadith actually, both are authentic. One narrated by Jabir bin Samurah, and the other narrated by Al-Bara bin Azib, where the Prophet ﷺ was asked, "At-tawadda'u min luhum al-ghanam?" Should we do wudu from eating the meat of sheep and basically sheep? The Prophet ﷺ said, "In shit, if you want to do wudu, you can do wudu." قال أتوضأ من لحوم الإبل? Then the Prophet was asked, should we do wudu from eating the meat of camels? قال نعم. The Prophet said, yes. What does that show? That shows that if you eat camel's meat, you have to do wudu. You have to do wudu. نعم.
The seventh, bathing a deceased person. Also,
bathing a deceased person. If a person washes the deceased body, then he should do fresh wudu. Hadith from Prophet said, "Man ghassala mayyitan falyaghtasil wa man hamalahu falyatawadda." And also ulama give other reasons why, because generally also on top of the hadith They say that due to the fact somebody's washing a dead body, there's going to be impurities there. He might accidentally touch the private parts. There might be other things which are on the body. So for those reasons, a person should do wudu.
The 8, apostating from Islam. May Allah protect us from that.
And the last thing which breaks somebody's wudu is apostating from the religion. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, لَإِنَّ شَرَقْتَ لَا يَحْبَطَنَّ عَمَلَكَ. If you commit shirk, we will nullify all of your deeds. Doing wudu, is that a deed? That's a deed. So if you had wudu and you apostated, and then you accepted Islam straight away, we say no. By you apostating, that all your deeds are nullified, meaning your wudu is also nullified. So you have to do fresh wudu. In fact, you have to do ghusl also. Okay, with this we finished talking about wudu. Okay, so now we're going back to the conditions of the prayer. How many conditions of the prayer were there? 9. And there was the first: Islam, sanity, tamyiz, and then doing wudu, removing the state of ritual impurity. And then we talked about wudu. How many conditions of wudu were there? 10. How many furud of wudu are there? 6. How many wajibat of wudu are there? 1. What's the difference between fard and wajib? Not you. Huh? Difference between fard and wajib.
The wajib doesn't break. If you remember, you don't have to do wudu.
If you don't remember, if it's out of forgetfulness, then your wudu is fine. And then how many nullifiers of wudu are there? 8. Okay, 8. All of these you have to memorize, because this is something you need to know daily, day-to-day basis. The adillah and all that you don't have to memorize. The explanations you don't have to know. But what the Shaykh says, the shurut of salah at 9, he mentions all 9, that part you have to know. If not, memorize word for word, but at least know them properly. The awrah of a man is from his kneecaps, including his kneecaps, until his navel, till his belly button. Now a lot of people, what happens when they wear jeans or trackies or anything like that, when they go into sajda, you can see their backside. This breaks the salah.